Add me to the stage, not Sarah Boone. Hey guys, welcome in. How are you guys doing tonight? Welcome on into tonight's live. Hopefully you guys are having a great Friday, a great weekend, or great start to your weekend. But we're almost there. We're there now. We're there, baby. We're there. If you're new to the channel, hi, hello, and welcome. I'm TitaniumBuilt or Tanya. If you saw my name unfiltered in the chat, that's me as well. I was going to try to stream on both channels tonight just to see how it went, but it already started bad when I went into the chat under a different name. So we're just going to skip that and we're just going to hang out over here on this channel where we belong with the true crime. But if you are new here, hi, hello, and welcome. If you're a returning Titan, welcome back for yet, another live. Love to see you guys in the chat. If you guys would like to join our channel membership, I will put that in the chat as well throughout the live tonight. I do have it on subscriber only mode for 5 minutes because I think I'm the only one here tonight other than Mr. Nightbot. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way you guys can come in and chat with us. We'd love to have some new chatters in here. So we love to see new people. If you would like to subscribe to my second channel, the link will be in the chat for you guys. It'll be filtering through Nightbot. So if you guys want to join us, we'd love to have you over there. And I did go to the dentist again today. And now that I'm talking to you guys, I can feel that my lip's still a little numb in the corner. So if it looks a little weird, that's probably why. That's probably why. But let's see, who do we have in here tonight? Oh, we got all kinds of people. We have Cheryl, Ashley, DM, Doodle Mom, Cat's Life. Hey, everybody. It's a party. And hey, Stephanie. Hey, LR. Hey, guys. How we doing? Hey, Catherine. Hey, Kelly D. Hey, Linda. Mike's in here with the eyes. He comes in lurking. Hey, Groovy Nikki. Hey, Therese. Did I see Therese? I did. Okay. I went by your name so fast. I didn't know. Look at you. Hey, peeps. Hey. You did 3 hays too. Doing laundry and things. I love that. I feel like I do that a lot whenever I'm watching true crime YouTube. Actually, I was watching today and I was just driving and it was actually kind of relaxing driving with the with YouTube on. I was surprised because normally I listen to music. I love listening to music, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna listen to some YouTube. So I was just listening to the YouTube streets, just stuff about YouTube streets. It wasn't really true crime, I guess, but it was still fun, nonetheless. If you guys did get to see my picture before I popped up with my beautiful face, I wanted to show you guys what I saw online today. I thought it was beyond funny. And it's not even funny at this point, actually. So our girl, Sarah Boone, we've been covering this case on our on the channel. And we're going to talk about Idaho right after this. But the girl has been through, she's had 6 attorneys. They got her a 7th. They got her a 7th attorney. They got her a 7th. I don't know how they found another guy or another person to represent her, but they did until today. Breaking news. I see this on my Twitter feed. It says another one of Sarah Boone's attorneys has filed a motion to withdraw from the suitcase murder trial. She is accused of, and she admitted that she zipped her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, in a suitcase and left him there overnight. And she videotaped it. So the attorney, Winston Hobson, that was her new attorney. The last attorney said that she called him a buffoon. And he was like, I'm out. So they're kind of sensitive, I feel like, a little bit. But he says that he wants to withdraw for irreconcilable differences. I feel like he's breaking off a marriage. He said he's done. He's done. I'm like, what is up with it? Can somebody just hang out with her in the jail all day until she goes to trial? Because that's what she wants. Groovy Nikki, she needs to defend herself. She really does. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think she does need to defend herself. She is aggressive. Cat K. I'm putting chapstick on real quick. They had my mouth open so much it cracked my lip. Yeah, she's just trying to buy time. Yeah, I don't know what she's even trying to do at this point, Ashley. I mean, ooh, look at her. Just look at her. I mean, just look at her. She's going to be sitting in there for the rest of her life before she even goes to trial. I mean, people are going to be getting out before her, way before her. It was very interesting when I saw that. I was like, I got to show everybody this. I showed the members earlier on our community tab. And then I was like, I'm going to show everybody tonight because I just thought that was pretty humorous, really. because it's 7 attorneys, but that's okay. She'll get another one. She'll get another. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Idaho this evening. New podcast came out. Super excited about that. I was really excited about that. I've been checking like all the time because I want updates and I like to listen to the podcast because they're very good to listen to. But we haven't covered the Idaho case since the hearing that they had, and it was a week ago today. So we've been, I guess, covering other cases. I didn't realize it had been that long. So I did put a community tab up or a post on the community tab. And I asked you guys what case you wanted me to cover. And this was like night before last. And we were going to cover it last night, but we had the Kansas City 3 toxicology results come out. So that's why we're doing it tonight. So what's everybody's opinion? Because after the hearing, we didn't really talk a whole lot. We kind of just got off the live. But what's everyone's kind of opinion on the trial starting possibly 2025, the summer of 2025? What do you guys think about that? I think it's crazy to me. If there's more discovery out there, then yeah. But if they're just needing more time to go through what they have, then they need to get a step on it. You know what I mean? They need to get a move on it. That's my opinion. That's my opinion on it. Sorry, I was trying to pull this up for you guys. And I'm just like looking up. So you guys were like, what is she looking at? I was going to read this to you guys because I wanted to see what you guys thought about this too. It's a super long time. It's too long. It really is too long to make these families wait. I mean, even I guess Brian Koberger doesn't care to wait, but I mean, you know, I wouldn't even want him to wait either. It's too many. It's too many delays. It's another year and like a few months. Like the families of these victims, they just need some answers, you know? I mean, now I think if they're going to be pushing this trial all the way to 2025, then they need to tell the family members, give them a little more information and then gag them to where nobody's allowed to talk about nothing about nothing, you know? So no Gonzalez's, you know, family interviews, like we're going to talk about here in a minute, you know, I think that would be the best bet because normally I feel like I used to watch like the first 48. I'm not like a cop, so I don't know personally, but on that show, it always seems like they would pull all the family members in together. Like if it was multiple families or whatever it was, if it was one family, they'd bring in all these people and they would tell them like what was going on in the case, the investigation, where they were at. And like before they were going to make an arrest, they would bring them all back in again and be like, hey, we're making an arrest. It just seems like they're like missing the mark there with the families, or the families are just, you know, wanting a little more than what the prosecution can give them in a way. But I think that the families deserve to know. They shouldn't have to wait that long. That's torture. That is torture. I said that last night. The not knowing would get me. The not knowing, which I don't think they're going to find out everything. I don't think we'll ever find out everything, but I feel so bad for them. Really? The courtroom in Michigan? Oh, I didn't know it was that small. I'm going to blow my nose really quick. Sorry, guys. I should have done this before the live. Sorry about that. I'm going to blow it really quick. Hold on. Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I swear, every time I come on the live, it's like never fails. My nose, I need to blow my nose. So, yeah, that's what we're going to go over tonight too. So we're going to go over new documents that just dropped. We're going to go over some stuff. I got some stuff. So let's see where we want to start. Yeah, I think the trial in 2025 is, it's not a fantastic idea, but with the prosecution kind of agreeing, like they're ready for a trial in 2024 summer, but they said, you know, hey, if they need it, you know, and Judge did say that he kept saying like, we only want one trial. We only want one trial here. So, you know, hey, Jeff. Steve Gonzalez said the not knowing is what makes it so bad. Yeah, I couldn't imagine the not knowing. The not knowing is what gets you. That's what eats you. You know what I mean? If you know, you can maybe like move on, like move forward, not on, but move forward. Not knowing, you're just stuck there, and your mind's just thinking of everything, just like we've done over the last, you know, year and a couple months. You know, I mean, we've had theories, we've had all that kind of stuff. So that's really what they're doing too, and you know they are because they've said it. They're on the internet. I did put a video out about this. I don't know if we talked about it on our live though. I think this came out that evening. So Brian Kohlberger had his court hearing. We watched that, and then after the court hearing, like I think it was like later in the evening, maybe it was just right after the court hearing though, this article dropped, and they had an interview with the Gonzalez family, and they talked about how Kaylee was found, and it was pretty graphic. It was new details that I had no clue about. In the beginning of this case, I don't remember exactly who said it. I'm thinking it was Howard Bloom. Let me know, guys. But remember, they said that the person who did this threw the bodies on top of each other, meaning Maddie and Kaylee. They were on top of each other. And I said, and I will find the live. I don't remember where it's at, but I was like, that's like superhuman strength. If you're going to pick a dead weight off of the floor and heave it onto the bed on top of another person, it's like, that's hard to do. I was even going to do an experiment. I remember I was going to do an experiment because I love experiments. So I never really got that part. I was like, well, maybe they were just laying on each other because of the way that the bodies were, they're in bed. But we're getting details now from the family that Kaylee was found sitting up. So that says a lot to me. So I'm going to read through this article just in case you guys haven't heard of, didn't see the video, or you haven't heard. I'm sure everyone's probably heard, but I figured I would go through it before we go through the documents. There's only a few documents, and then we'll watch the podcast, and I have some pictures I can put with the podcast as well. I was listening to it earlier, and there are new details in this podcast that I've never heard before. I was like, what? It made me mad. So it says here, Brian Kohlberger, the suspect in the University of Idaho student unalivings, is due in court Friday. This as the parents of one of the victims releases new images of their daughter the family recently got from investigators. And I'm pretty sure this was the same day. The parents of Kaylee Gonzalez sat down with ABC News for an exclusive interview, sharing never before released images of her. Their 21-year-old daughter was one of the 4 college students brutally stabbed in off-campus housing in Moscow, Idaho. However, the family is still waiting on a full digital copy of Kaylee's phone from authorities. Now, I could have sworn when, hey, Joe Logan, I'm here. It's me. So let me see. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I promise. I thought I heard, and maybe you guys heard the interview too. Kara Kernodle came out and did an interview on YouTube a while back. I could have sworn she said that she had just received a digital copy of Xana's phone. Now, I'm wondering why Kaylee's family is still waiting on that digital copy. If, Xana's mom got hers back, this was months ago. So I'm just wondering about that. Let me know if you guys remember hearing about that. Jan's probably sleeping, and so is Isabel. That's where my mods are. My mods are sleeping. One lives in Scotland, and she's just like, I gotta sleep. It's Friday. I just got off work. I'll be back tomorrow. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think about it, because it's just weird that some parents have gotten the copy of their phones, other parents haven't gotten. Now maybe there's more information to collect on Kaylee's phone than on Xana's phone. That could be the case. Personally, I would probably release all the phones back to the families at one time. That way family members aren't thinking like, well, why do they have my kid's phone and not their kids? One of those deals. Oh, that's okay. Kelly said she wanted to correct something. I said, I cannot source it now. I said, there was a report that the house Jordan Willis was renting is his grandparents' house. I have not found. Oh, that's okay. That the grandparents wasn't that evicted him either. Oh, I could have fell asleep with the headphones in and dreamt it for all I know. That sounds like me. No, I did that. I said, did I dream that? What was it? Was something. It was something with YouTube too. I was like, did I dream that? And I had to go and check. I had to go and check. So we all do it. We all do it. That's so funny. Must have fallen asleep. I fall asleep to like scary stories. So there's no telling what I'll say. It says, we're just left in limbo, said Kaylee's dad, Steve Gonzalez. There are the last moments of your child's life, and you're just sitting here fighting with someone who just doesn't care. And I think when they say things like that, I think that it's their anger coming out, their anger stage. They were able to collect some of Kaylee's belongings from the university over the summer, which raised concerns for them about how well possible evidence was processed. And we're going to hear about that, about the how the families were able to collect the belongings, because it's crazy. So it says, including a trash can from Kaylee's room that was full and appeared untouched. Now, we all know they don't like to touch. They don't like to touch trash. They don't believe in it. We've got, we've all seen these pictures before. They never did collect any of that. I think it went down with the house. Personally, I think it went down with the house. I don't know what was in there. I'm very curious. So they're now saying they had a trash can in Kaylee's room, which, I mean, the crimes didn't probably happen in Kaylee's room. So that's probably why they maybe didn't collect it. But you would think they would go through everything. I mean, just to be thorough. So police said they had gathered more than 100 pieces of physical evidence from the scene, along with 4,000 photos and 3D scans of the residence. Still, frustration is mounting for the family over what they consider a lack of communication and a rush to tear down the home on King Road. So Christy describes for the first time how Kaylee was found. The side where Kaylee was, I had that up too. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys. I think we actually did go over this because I think I pulled this up. Let's see here. That way, if you guys don't know, I'm sure everyone knows at this point, but you never know. There's new people coming in on this case every day. I still can't believe it. What? Joe Viditt? Oh, that's Joe Viditt from the food truck. What did Jeff say? And I remember the moment with the grub truck when Joe V pulls out his phone. Yeah. Joe Viditt, yeah, he's cool. I think he's cool. If that's the same one you're talking about. He was on TikTok. He did a couple videos for Jack. Saying that Jack had nothing to do with it. And then he's like, when this is all done and it's said and over with, he's like, I'm deleting these TikToks and I'm moving on with my life. And he actually did. And I was like, I went back to check. I was like, oh, let's see. After Brian Koberger was arrested, because he was like, after there's an arrest, that's what he said. He's like, after there's an arrest, I'm done. And he really deleted them. Miss Linda's been a member for 12 months. We got to get you an arm tomorrow. Oh, let me write it. Where's my Post-it notes? Hold on. If it's not on a Post-it note, I won't remember. I'm so excited. 1 year, Miss Linda. Oh, that's a perfect day to come in on a 1 year because Vincent's off tomorrow. So he can make that 1 year badge. Put it right there. So when I get up, I'll see it. That's all. Thank you. Man, that's awesome. We've been hanging out for a year, Miss Linda. Even longer than that, actually, I'm sure. I don't even think I had memberships whenever you first came into the chat. Oh, that makes me really happy. That makes me really, really, really happy. Oh, that does. I'm gonna have to make you a little arm tomorrow. So now, because Vincent's been over, he has one that's a year. So he's just been kind of waiting because he doesn't really care for himself. So that's exciting. It'll give him something extra to do tomorrow because he's putting together a big table that looks really bad to put together. It looks really hard. Okay, so this is Maddie's bedroom. If you're looking at it from the door, so the door is to the, if you're looking at the screen, it's to the left. And the arrow that is pointing downward, that is where they're going to say that Kaylee was found. So in this article, it says, this is how Christy describes it, the side where Kaylee was up against the wall. And if you can imagine Kaylee in an upright sort of position, up in the corner, slumped. I mean, she was trapped. She described the bed was the entire room. You could barely open the door without swiping the foot of the bed, and it was the wall. The headboard was up against the wall. So, and it says the home on King Road was torn down in the pre-dawn hours on December 28th. So, yeah, very small room. I think that even if my personal opinion, I think that Kaylee came out of her room and then went into Maddie's room after she had heard something. But I think that she might have jumped over across the bed to get to what was going on. And that's when all hell kind of broke loose, I hate this case. I do. I hate it so much. I wish we wouldn't have to talk. I mean, I wish it never happened. It's really hard. So I don't think Randy Elm. I don't think it was Brian that locked the door locked Murphy in Kaylee's room. I don't know what happened personally, but my personal opinion, and this has been since January of February of last year. I think that Kaylee was asleep in her own bedroom that night. There's a picture and you can see, let me see if I can blow it up. You can see that the bed looks like it's turned down on one side. So I think she was laying in her own bed and she heard something. When she got up, she put Murphy, like she just kind of shut Murphy in the room. I think she was kind of like putting him in the room. And that's when she said, like she said something, I think maybe, and that's what Dylan heard downstairs. I think she could hear Kaylee putting the dog away. And then that's when she went into Maddie's room. And then, but that's just me. But you never know. We'll wait till court. We'll wait, I guess, till I had a picture on here. It was pretty funny. It was a skeleton and it said waiting on Kohlberger's trial. I wish I would have kept that up. I'll have to find that. I was like, I really need that now. I'm gonna grab my drink and then we are going to go over these documents that just came out. Now, I think everyone has seen the change of venue document, but I don't know if you guys have seen the other two that have come out since then. So we'll go over all of those. Oh yeah, Labradoodles are not barkers at all. They really aren't. I'm surprised the dog made any noise. And we live in an area, everybody has a Labradoodle but me, and I want one, or a golden doodle. I don't care, either or. Either or is fine. But they will walk their dogs and their dogs will be so cool. My dogs will be barking at these dogs, like growling. My dogs are nuts. Like, they're nuts. The Weimaraner will bark. She's scared of everything. She starts barking, but then the pit boxer is the aggressive one, and she'll finish the fight. The first one will kind of start. So we try not to walk them around any other dogs, but if they see like a Labradoodle or Golden Doodle, those dogs will sit there. They'll sit and just stare at my dogs. Like, they won't make a noise, won't do nothing, won't be scared, just being cool. And I'm like, look at my crazy dogs, but I love them. I love my dogs. The reason why one is aggressive. She was on street for 3 years. She was in the kennel before we got her. And so she's a little protective. So we just make sure she's protected. The other one is scared of life in general. And so she barks at everything. So they're the perfect match. You should see us on a walk. I need a GoPro on myself one day so you guys can see that. See me just walking the dogs, because it's funny. They walk me, that's for sure. So the first document I'm going to read to you guys, there is going to be from the defense. I try to put them in like color coordinate them. So if it's in blue, it's from the defense. If it's in pink, it's from the state. And if it's in yellow, it's from the court. And that's going to be any document across the board that we read on this channel. I try to keep it all the same. Let me get down here. Okay. I didn't read any of my notes tonight. Me too, Margot. She's I'm scared of life in general. Me too. I feel like I'm Mia. Mia's me in a dog's body. Right, 10 times enjoying it. Soul Shimer, Jesus Christ, that's funny. You're late. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get a little bored back here. Oh, and you guys, I didn't notice this until like Vincent showed me. But when I look on my camera to see how like dark or bright it is in here. And I thought it was so dark in here. Like, I thought it was pitch black. And apparently you guys can see perfectly fine. I like didn't know, because I don't ever watch my lives back. So I just figured that out. How long we've been in this room? 2 months? That's funny, isn't it? I just figured that out. I thought you guys couldn't see anything around me. So I just thought that was funny. So this is the first one, motion for a change of venue, which we knew that was going to happen. And I said, no, they're not going to change. It's going to stay in Latah County. If they do anything, they'll ship in people from another jurisdiction, because they're going to want to keep, in my opinion, the money there in Latah County. That's really what it comes down to, in my opinion. And I'm not one of those people like the school's out for money. This is for money. But you normally, when it comes to these kind of cases, it's for money. We had a high profile case here in Ohio, Pike County murders. the Wagners. It's like the Hatfields and McCoys, you know, one of those deals. 5 members took out 8 members. And that's what they did. They just brought people in from another county because they're like, we're not losing out on the funds here. So I kind of knew they were going to do a motion for a change of venue also, but I didn't think they would do it this soon. I thought that would be closer to trial. And it would be like one of those like last ditch efforts to get it extended a little more, if that makes sense. Because they always want to have a continuance as far as they can. So it says now comes Brian C. Kohlberger buying through his attorneys. I know that they have to write it like that, I guess, like Brian Kohlberger, but it sounds like he is representing himself for some reason. Like, I don't know. Buying through his attorneys and hereby moves this change for a venue. By this motion, Brian requests a jury pool from outside Latah County. This motion is made pursuant to the 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution and a bunch of articles from the Idaho State Constitution. A fair and impartial jury cannot be found in Latah County owing to the extensive inflammatory pretrial publicity allegations made about Mr. Kohlberger to the public by media that will be inadmissible at his trial. The small size of the community, the salacious nature of the alleged crimes, and the severity of the charges Mr. Kohlberger faces, enlarging the jury pool will not do anything to overcome that persuasive prejudicial publicity, because Latah County does not have a large enough population centered to avoid the bias in the community. That was a tongue twister. Persuasive prejudicial publicity. Prejudicial, please. That's a tongue twister. Further, the size of the community and the interconnectedness of its citizenry is problematic and will prevent a fair and impartial pool of potential jurors. Mr. Kohlberger, by and through his counsel, requests an opportunity to be heard through evidentiary presentation and argument no sooner than the end of April 2024. So no sooner. Okay, that's what they're still trying that. So they're saying April 2024. Okay, never mind. I thought I was thinking 2025. I was thinking 2025. Okay, never mind. I was like, wait, they are trying to do that. Okay, so no sooner than the end of April. Okie dokie. We have another one here. There's like 3. This one I thought was kind of entertained me. And I don't know if anyone else has read this document. And if you guys have heard it somewhere else, let me know if they caught this. Let me know. So this is the motion to allow certain experts and investigators protected access to view IGG materials. And this is from the defense. Again, comes now Brian. So it says, and hereby moves the court for an order allowing certain experts and investigators protected access to view IGG materials. Counsel for Mr. Kohlberger has reviewed the materials currently available under the court seal order for disclosure of IGG information and protective order filed with the court on 12/29 and requests the court to include additional members of the defense team access to the materials. Mr. Kohlberger specifically requests the current protective order to expand and allow defense experts, Dr. Leah Larkin, Bricka Barlow, and Stephen Mercer, access to the materials. So they're keeping these experts, but where's Gabrielle Vargas? You know, the expert that went off the stand and then went and told someone that she didn't really believe what she said on the stand. So that's why they sent the FBI to her house to talk to her. She's not in the list. She's not on the list. So I wonder why she's not on the list. Joe looked and got it. She saw the excitement. She knew. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I said, wait a minute. What was that woman's name? And I was like, click, click, click. And I was clicking around and I was like, wait a minute. Hey, Wizard Walt, welcome in. Hey, Mary Beth. So apparently they don't want to get their hands dirty with her anymore. I don't know. I just feel like if they really believed in her, they would double down and be like, we want this, I don't know. We never heard anything about it. So we didn't hear. There were a few, hearings that we didn't get to hear. So I don't know if something happened in those hearings where they were like, you can't use her. But yeah. So further, Mr. Kohlberger requested that the criminal investigators that are part of the defense team be allowed to have access to the materials as well. Expanding the current protective order to include additional members of the defense team and experts includes each additional person subject to the restrictions in the protective order. This request is grounded in Mr. Kohlberger's Sixth Amendment right to effective assistance of counsel and counsel's ongoing duty to investigate the case brought against Mr. Kohlberger. Okay. Yeah, that was your first thought too, Kelly D. I was like, I don't want to mess with her no more. I'm going to grab an Advil. Sorry, guys. I'm like, man, I can't keep it straight tonight. And everything's behind me, of course. I had some dental work today, and it was like torture today. So that's probably why it's bothering me. So I just had a root canal last week or 2 weeks ago, and I didn't take anything for that. So this thing, I don't like taking like Advil and stuff. Thank you guys. You guys are great. Yeah, it's a little sore. It's weird. Okay. That's weird. It shouldn't be probably. We'll see how it feels tomorrow. I just never have pain, so that's weird. But I did tell them today about you guys helping me with my tooth journey. I was like, they were the best. Not me. I'm allergic to pain. I hate pain. I just hate taking stuff for it. I feel like, I don't know. I'm going to divert for just a second. But yesterday, my shins were hurting. And I already park really close to the store because I have a parking pass or whatever to park closer. But my legs were hurting so bad. And I was like, what do I do now? I was like, what do I do now? Because I was like, I'm not going to get on anything. So for the pain, I'm like, so what do we do? What do we do now? Thanks, Doodlebug. It'll feel better in a minute. It feels better now that I took something already. It's just that back tooth, little sucker. But we're almost done. We're getting so close. It's so great. So the next one here is order denying defendant's motion to reconsider and motion for permissive appeal. What's permissive appeal? I want to know what that is. Sorry, but we want to know what that is. Let's see if it'll give us the Idaho rule. It's a motion for permission to appeal from an interlocutory order or judgment of a district court in a civil or criminal action, or from an interlocutory order of an administrative agency which is not otherwise appealable under these rules, but which involves a controlling question of law as to which there is substantial grounds for difference of opinion, and in which an immediate appeal from the order to decree may materially advance the orderly resolution of the litigation. And that's the criteria for it. So let's read over this. And then we'll play the podcast. That podcast is really good. There was stuff in there. I was like, what? So, and I didn't get through the end of it. So it'll be nice to hear it all together. And welcome in. Kaylee said, I feel like I don't take anything for my pain. I just live with it. I hate meds. Well, ever since I'm nervous, even though if you get I know that I get stuff from the doctor, but I'm scared since Kansas City case. I'm just nervous wreck now. Yeah, kind of like shin splints. That's what it feels like. But it's the metal. It's where I broke parts of my my legs, split them, where the bones were split, where they fused back together. They hurt. It's just these weird feelings, but it feels like shin splints, but really bad ones. But that's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. That's what I consider a feeling like. So the background here is this is an ongoing criminal prosecution for 4 counts of M in the first degree and 1 count of burglary. The M's were committed over a year ago on November 13th, 2022. Defendant Brian C. Kohlberger was charged with the crimes on December 30th, 2022, and has been in custody since that time. Although trial was originally scheduled to begin in October 2023, on August 23rd, 2023, defendant waived his right to a speedy trial and moved to continue the jury trial to a later date to provide adequate time for him to challenge the grand jury indictment, among other things. That was a really bad day for me. I'm not going to lie. And I'm not even part of the family. I hate it when he waived his right. On July 25th, 2023, defendant filed a motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of error in grand jury instructions or in the alternative remand for preliminary hearing. On August 23rd, 2023, defendant filed a motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct in withholding exculpatory evidence. A hearing on both motions was held on October 26, 2023. On December 15th, 2023, this court issued an order denying motion to dismiss indictment for inaccurate instructions to grand jury and a sealed order denying motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct. On December 21st, 2023, defendant filed a motion to reconsider orders denying motions to dismiss indictment and the alternative for permission to appeal from the interlocutory orders and a stay of proceedings. I would hate to be the person that has to write these documents up. You know what I mean? Because he could say this in a short form. He could say this in a short form. Oh, like patches? I haven't. Oh, wait, I think I know what you're talking about, though. I think they gave me that for my rib pain because I collapsed a lung. I'm gonna tell you guys my story next Friday. I think it's a good one. You know, I mean, it's a good one. It is. It's a good story. It's like has some good parts, some sad parts, some happy parts, some fun parts. I don't know. It has all the parts. And it's actually, it really does fall into the true crime category. There was big charges, and I was almost shot. So I'll leave you on that cliffhanger till Friday. So I guess if you don't take someone out with a car, you try to take them out with something else. So here it says, a two-part hearing on defendant's motion was held on January 26, 2024. The first portion of the hearing was closed to the public to protect the secrecy of the grand jury proceedings. The second part of the hearing was open to the public, which focused on the standard required for the grand jury indictment. At both hearings, defendant was present and represented by Ann Taylor, Jay Logston, and Eliza Masseth. The state was represented by William W. Thompson, Jr., Ashley Jennings, Jeff Nye, and Ingrid Beatty. To date, a trial has yet to be rescheduled as the parties continue to work through discovery, trial preparation, and the continued motions challenging the grand jury. Given the immense amount of potential evidence, defense counsel has represented that the earliest a trial should be scheduled is spring 2025 and more realistically, summer 2025. The state would prefer a setting in summer 2024, but also acknowledged that a trial in summer 2025 would be more realistic. They're not going to do it in the spring because they're going to have students in there. If they want to do it at the school, you know what I mean? Joe looking, good Lord, girl, you're a trooper. I am. I was in a bad car. Yeah, KK, yeah, really bad. And everyone always asks me to tell my story, so I'm like, I should do that. And it's been a while since you guys have been asking. So if you guys see the little like dashes through, I just dashed through all of the examples that they give us. So if you see those, we're just going to skip over those. But it says here's the law. The Idaho criminal rules do not expressly provide for a motion for reconsideration like Idaho rules of civil procedure. There is no criminal procedural rule that provides a basis to reconsider a decision of this kind. The Idaho rules of criminal procedure have nothing similar to Idaho rule of civil procedure. However, such motions have not been deemed improper if made. Under the Idaho rules of civil procedure, the decision to grant or deny a request for reconsideration generally rests in the sound discretion of the trial court. A motion for reconsideration may be based on new evidence or calculated to draw the court's attention to errors of law or fact in the initial decision. To obtain permission to obtain an interlocutory order, the appealing party must first seek permission from both the trial court that issued the interlocutory order and the appellate court before the appeal can be heard. Even if the trial court enters an order disproving a motion for permission to appeal, the appellate court may still accept the appeal. However, the trial court's assessment of the desirability of allowing an interlocutory appeal is of great importance. A trial court's role under IAR 12 is to differentiate between those interlocutory orders for which an appeal ought to be permitted because an immediate appeal will ultimately facilitate the litigation and those where an appeal would unduly disrupt the case or unfairly prejudice a party. The trial court is generally in a far better position than an appellate court to evaluate this factor. Although the appellate court may grant permission for an appeal despite the trial court's refusal to do so, the explanation given by the trial court for its decision provides important information for the appellate court's decision. Under IAR 12, an appeal may be taken from interlocutory order. Let's read that again. An appeal may be taken from interlocutory order under very limited circumstances. First, the order appealed from must involve a controlling question of law as to which there is substantial grounds for difference of an opinion. Does anyone else feel like judge is having to tell the defense the law, like explain the law to them a lot? Because I feel like that. Second, it must appear that an immediate appeal from the order may materially advance the order or resolution of the litigation. It was the intent of IAR 12 to provide an immediate appeal from an interlocutory order if substantial legal issues of great public interest or legal questions of first impression are involved. In addition to these factors set forth in IAR 12, a court determining whether to hear an interlocutory appeal should also consider the impact of an immediate appeal upon the parties, the effect of the delay of the proceedings in the district courts pending the appeal, the likelihood or possibility of a second appeal after judgment is finally entered by the district court, and the case overload or the case workload of the appellate courts. IAR 12 only creates an appeal in the exceptional case and does not broaden the appeals which may be taken as a matter of right under IAR 11. And this is going to be like analysis, reconsideration. For the reasons articulated on the record on January 26, 2024, defendant's motion for reconsideration is denied. The order denying motion to dismiss indictment for inaccurate instructions to grand jury and the sealed order denying motion to dismiss indictments on grand jury on grounds of biased grand jury and admissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct are both soundly rooted in case law, constitutional law, statutes, and criminal rules. The court does not find error with any factual findings or applications of well-settled law to the facts as found. In reaching its decision, the court spent a significant amount of time reviewing the grand jury proceedings and researching the issues presented by defendant. Reconsideration does not change the court's decision. Now, I wonder if the judge, so during a grand jury, I wonder if the judge is like, if he watches like the grand jury afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Or if he never like watches that normally. Like, let me know that. Because isn't it just like the prosecutors in there and then the jurors and who else? Is the judge also in there? I know that's a dumb question. I should know that. But I thought it was just the jury and the prosecutor. So I was wondering like if they always reviewed those tapes or if this is like something that judge had to do because, to make the decision. And if that's the case, he's probably like, oh, I would love to see that. I would like to see that. Permission to appeal. For the reasons articulated on the record on January 26, defendant's motion for permission to appeal from interlocutory orders is denied. First, neither the order denying motion to dismiss indictment for inaccurate instructions to grand jury or the sealed order denying motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury and admissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct involving a controlling question of law as to which there is substantial grounds for difference of opinion. Indeed, it is well settled law in Idaho that the standard for a grand jury indictment is probable cause not beyond a reasonable doubt. Defendant himself recognizes that the whole of modern jurisprudence on the issue is against his novel theory that beyond a reasonable doubt is the applicable standard. And Idaho colleagues of defense counsel have presented this theory to at least 3 district judges, and all have agreed that probable cause and not beyond a reasonable doubt is the appropriate standard. Thus, there are not substantial grounds for differences of opinion on this issue. Similarly, Idaho Criminal Rule 6.6 expressly states that a motion to dismiss the indictment may be granted by the district court for a valid challenge to an individual juror who served on the grand jury that found the indictment, except that finding of that valid challenge to one or more members of the grand jury is not grounds for dismissal of the indictment if there were 12 or more qualified jurors concurring in the finding of the indictment. Because I believe that there's 16 on a grand jury, and so they only need 12 to agree maybe. Although defendant argues this rule violates due process, there is no case law supporting defendant's position. Thus, there are no substantial grounds for differences of opinion to dismiss the indictment where the indictment was found to be probable cause by all 16 jurors. There it is. Second, an immediate appeal of the orders denying dismissal of the indictment would not materially advance the orderly resolution of the litigation. Quite the opposite is true. Unfortunately, this case has already been pending for a year, and in this juncture, trial may not even be set until spring or summer 2025. If an appeal is granted now, the case will essentially come to a halt for some period while the appellate court reviews the grand jury proceedings, causing even further delay. Judge does not want. He's ready to rumble. He's ready to go. If an appeal is granted now, the case will essentially. Oh, I read that. Sorry. So for a period of time, and the appellate court reviews the grand jury proceedings, causing even further delay. And the gain to the defendant, even assuming a permissive appeal is granted by the appellate court and the appellate court rules in defendant's favor, is de minimis. I don't know how to say that. As the state has stated that charges would immediately be refiled. Stated differently, the likelihood of defendant being released from custody, even if the indictment were dismissed by a higher court, is essentially non-existent. Your boy ain't getting out of jail, aka Brian Colbert. Get comfortable, I guess. The only path forward for either side is trial. So basically, you're not getting him out. He ain't going home. Sorry. Not until trial. Additionally, as time passes, both sides are faced with the reality that witnesses' memories may fade or witnesses may become unavailable, which may cause prejudice to one or both sides. Finally, while the court remains steadfast in its obligation to ensure defendants' constitutional rights are protected, the court is also mindful of the victims' families' constitutional rights to timely deposition of this case. He was really apologetic in the courtroom. An appeal now would not advance defendants' rights or the rights of the victims' families. Case law also instructs this court to consider the impact of the immediate appeal upon the parties that affect of the delay of the proceedings in the district court pending the appeal, the likelihood or possibility of a second appeal after judgment is finally entered by the district court, and the case overload of the appellate courts. As outlined above, and the impact of an appeal now on the parties would not be favorable to either side, and the effect of further delay of these proceedings may result in prejudice to one or both parties. Finally, if defendant is convicted by a trial jury, and especially if the death penalty is imposed, there will undoubtedly be years of appeals to come where the issues raised by defendants now may be reviewed by a higher court. You don't want to hear it. Take it after appeal. Take it to appeal. Just kidding. IAR 12 only creates an appeal in the exceptional case and does not broaden the appeals which may be taken as a matter of right under IAR 11. It was the intent of IAR 12 to provide an immediate appeal from an interlocutory order if substantial legal issues of great public interest or legal questions of first impression are involved. While this case in itself is exceptional in that defendant is charged with 4 counts of first-degree M and is facing the death penalty if convicted, the issues raised by defendant's motion to dismiss the indictment are not exceptional, nor are they substantial legal issues of great public interest or legal questions of first impression. If grand jury proceedings were routinely reviewed by appellate courts before jury trials, the system, both at the trial level and at the appellate level, would become bogged down. The grand jury is merely an investigative body tasked with determining if there is probable cause for defendant to face the charges against him. Nothing the grand jury did has any bearing on the ultimate question of defendant's guilt or innocence. For these reasons, defendant's motion for permission to appeal is denied. Man, I wonder how they felt. I wonder how she felt when she was reading this back to herself, you know? Man. Although the judge was ready to go, I felt like I think the judge was ready to go to church. I think when Ann Taylor said, I don't even know if I'll be ready by summer 2025, he was like, what? he looked like his eyes were going to pop out of his head. He was like, what did she just say? What? Oh, I bet that judge tells the defense off too. I bet after he said you're sending him to death, like you're killing him or something. Jay Logson said you're killing him. I was like, no, he didn't. And you know what? They just unalived, they just killed the guy in jail, in prison with nitrogen or something. It was. So That sounds like you're just going to fall asleep, like you're going into surgery or something. I got to look more into that. But I don't know if you guys heard that. So we'll move over to the podcast. I got through 25 minutes of it, 25 of 34. So I did pretty good. I know there's one commercial break in here. I was like, oh, really? But I do have pictures to go above this. So you guys don't have to just like listen to it. You'll have something to kind of visualize, visual to go with it as well. If you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. I'm going to try not to pause it too much, but there is like a part of this and I was like, what? So right around the mark where we were at, like right around the 20 minute mark, I was like, my eyes about popped out of my head. So I will make sure that I stop it there. That way everyone hears it. So it's good to see everybody in here. It's good to see everybody. And if you guys are unfamiliar with this podcast, we've been playing this podcast for a while now. I wonder when the first one came up, it says. It doesn't say on here, but we've been watching it ever since episode 1 through 5, 6. Okay, yeah, so 6, 7 episodes. It's like maybe 8. So if you guys want to see the other episodes, you can go to this website. I have it in my description, or if you want to see like visuals with it under my videos, not my lives, but videos, I pre-recorded all of these. So there's no live with it. You can just go straight to the video. And we have all of them up there. So let's go ahead and play this one and we'll see what they have to say.
I'm Kayna Whitworth. I came back to Moscow, Idaho recently to bring you some updates, sometimes from the wee hours of the morning.
We spend a lot of time driving around Moscow at weird times to accommodate all the shows that we file for on ABC. And so we see Moscow in a lot of different lights or really, really dark.
I came for a court hearing for Brian Kohberger, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. Kohberger, now 29 years old and a former grad student in criminology, maintains his innocence. In the town of Moscow, the King Road house where the murders took place is gone. It was torn down in December.
Early this morning, the home that once stood here on King Road reduced to rubble and taken away. And while some are ready to move forward on the healing journey, others worry that this may all be too soon.
The victims' families have retrieved their children's possessions from the house, but there are still some precious items they're pushing law enforcement to return, particularly photos on a cell phone.
These are the last moments of your child's life, and you're sitting here fighting with somebody who just doesn't care.
In December, the president of the University of Idaho published a book on crisis management, including his handling of the tragedy.
So we just received our books, the University President's Crisis Handbook, and we're about to do an opening here and see what they look like.
After the initial trial date was postponed from last October, the families are still waiting for their day in court.
It's time for a trial, Your Honor.
This is the King Road killings. Update: a longer road to justice.
We are on the record. This is State of Idaho versus Brian Kohberger, case number CR 2922.
This hearing last Friday, January 26th, in Brian Kohberger's case, wasn't like a lot of others I'd been to in the Latah County Courthouse. In the past, they were full of national media. For the first time, this one was live streamed. But inside the courtroom, it mostly appeared to be locals. There were reporters from the University of Idaho student newspaper, The Argonaut. There were students wearing Vandal Law sweatshirts and a row full of younger, college-age girls. I sat behind family members of Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan, who you'll remember were 2 of the victims. The other 2 were Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin. In the courtroom, all 7 or so of Kaylee and Maddie's family members were squeezed into one row. They could have spread out. The courtroom was fairly open, but it was like they wanted to be a united front, shoulder to shoulder. And when Brian Kohberger walked in, I saw their heads pop up. He was wearing a charcoal gray suit with a yellow shirt and a yellow tie. His attorney, Ann Taylor, walked in wearing a plum-colored suit. Her long blonde hair was curled. She was joined by a couple of other defense attorneys. The prosecutor, Bill Thompson, was there, along with his assistant prosecutors. His long white beard is probably the first thing anyone notices about him. The hearing was focused on two things. First, the defense had raised a technical dispute. And second, it was time to set a trial date. A trial the nation will be watching for a crime that's plagued this small community for more than a year. On the first issue, the technical one, the defense wants the grand jury's indictment thrown out. They object to how the jury instructions were given. Judge John Judge, yes, that's his name, had already denied that request. But Jay Logston from the defense team wanted him to reconsider it and allow them to appeal to a higher court.
What we're asking the court to do is to give us the court's blessing to take up the issue to the Idaho Supreme Court.
The prosecution's Jeff Nye argued that an appeal would significantly delay the trial.
The idea that we would hit the pause button and take power away from this court because there is a interesting issue for the Idaho Supreme Court to address is not something that this court or any court should tolerate. It's time for a trial, Your Honor.
Remember, this is a death penalty case, and in their efforts to sway the judge, the defense tried to illustrate exactly how high the stakes are with every decision the court makes.
Whether or not the case makes its way to trial at some point is, in our mind, just part of what the court has to look at, particularly in a case where the state's decided that it wants to try to kill someone.
The state's decided that it wants to try to kill someone. It was a dramatic line, but it seemed to fall flat in the courtroom. There wasn't much reaction, except for prosecutor Bill Thompson, who really took issue with it. He pushed back hard.
He makes the allegation the state is trying to kill someone here, and frankly, I find that offensive. We are simply trying to fulfill our responsibilities under the law. To characterize it as the state is trying to kill someone is just simply appealing to raw emotion, and it has no place in this courtroom. We would ask that that not be allowed any further.
Ultimately, the judge denied Brian Kohberger's request for an appeal over the grand jury instructions. The judge agreed with the prosecution that an appeal would only stall the process, and if the indictment were thrown out, another grand jury would almost certainly re-indict him.
We really need to move forward.
And then they moved on to the one thing everyone had been waiting for.
I think we are ready to go to setting a trial, or at least a schedule.
The judge approached this cautiously. He knows how many people, both inside this courtroom and around the country, are invested in this trial getting started. The courtroom was silent, in rapt attention. The prosecution proposed a start date.
At this time right now, we believe that we could be prepared for trial summer this year.
They said summer would be less disruptive for the community.
And I say that because right across the street there is Moscow High School that shares parking all around the courthouse with everybody else who's going to have an interest in this case and being here. And we've already encountered the conflict between those interests. We can't sustain that for weeks and weeks on end. That's just not fair to the students. It's not fair to the school district. It's not fair to the media. It's not fair to anybody.
The prosecutor also cited the lack of hotel rooms to put up all the expert witnesses and media and other people who will jam into this small town. The defense had a potential solution to that dilemma. They said they planned to file for a change of venue. And this week, they did just that. Kohberger's attorneys wrote in part, "A fair and impartial jury cannot be found in Latah County, owing to the extensive inflammatory pretrial publicity." As for the timing of the trial, Kohberger's lead attorney, Ann Taylor, said summer of 2024 wasn't realistic in any way. Her proposal, summer of 2025. Then Taylor launched into a lengthy list of all the work she still has ahead of her to be ready for trial. Remember the 51 terabytes of evidence collected by investigators? Kohberger's defense attorneys have to go through all of it.
To put it in perspective, 1 terabyte can hold 250,000 pictures. 1 terabyte, and we have 51 of those. Or 500 hours of high definition video. So 500 hours times 51, or 6.5 million document pages. and that's equal to 1,300 filing cabinets. And we have 51 terabytes, not just one. So that's a lot. There's a lot to go through in this case.
Taylor also said there are 400 potential witnesses, and they've talked to fewer than 10% of them. She said many don't want to talk to her, and crucial expert witnesses haven't been hired yet. Since the murders took place, 9,000 tips have come into the FBI, and the defense has to review all of them. As Taylor was listing all the things she'd need to do to prep for Kohberger's trial, there was a moment where she looked down at her client, and he looked back up at her, wide-eyed, taking it all in. But as Taylor went through her list, the judge looked a little bored. He had his chin in his hand and shifted back and forth in his chair a few times. But then, Kohberger's attorney said something that really seemed to catch the judge's attention.
There is no way that I am effective assistance of counsel. I haven't looked at every bit of discovery that's available. That's the duty I owe to Brian. That's his right for effective assistance of counsel, to have me do those things.
Effective assistance of counsel. As soon as Taylor uttered those 4 words, the tide changed in that room. It's something the judge is alert to, because if Kohberger is convicted and can later prove his attorney made a big mistake, he could appeal the case and get retried, and the judge doesn't want that to happen.
I only want to have one trial, one time, so it doesn't come back.
One trial, one time. It's something he said over and over again. So bottom line, the judge doesn't want to rush the defense. At the same time, this quadruple homicide happened in November of 2022. A trial in 2025 means making the victims' families wait nearly 3 years for their day in court. And the judge was clearly struggling with the weight of that.
It's really hard for me right now to set something in 2025, even though that might be just the reality. My heart goes out to the victims. I can't even imagine the pain, the grief, because you can't really go forward with your life. It's hanging over your head. So, sorry.
You could tell he really felt bad.
In the end, no trial date was set. I didn't have to see the Gonzalez family's faces to know how they were reacting to all of this. They were crestfallen. It was another in a string of disappointments.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. As we usher in 2024, let's veer away from the traditional New Year, buying the next routine of taking for the profound bet. It's not a brief questionnaire.
To see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Style.com.
Kohberger's hearing. His parents declined to be interviewed.
Let me go back a little bit. There we go.
All the victims' families have been waiting for a court date. Before our visit to Moscow, we reached out to them. Ethan, Xana, and Maddie's parents declined to be interviewed at this time, but Kaylee's parents, Steve and Christy, were willing to meet with us. They have a lot on their minds, like Kaylee's phone data. They've gotten some of it back from authorities, but not all. They hope to get a few more glimpses of Kaylee's life. The day before Kohberger's hearing, I drove to Coeur d'Alene, about 90 minutes north of Moscow, to talk with Christy and Steve and bring their story to Good Morning America.
As we hear from the family of Kaylee Gonzalez, they're sharing never-before-released images of their daughter, and our Kayna Whitworth sat down with them and joined us from Moscow, Idaho. Good morning, Kayna.
Michael, good morning. An incredibly emotional conversation. Kaylee's mom says she feels like they've been in limbo now for more than a year. And while
we set up our cameras in an Airbnb. There's a lot going on in the Gonzalez household these days with 2 new grandbabies, and we wanted a place where they could talk without any interruptions. Christy had her makeup and hair done. She was wearing several necklaces, and one that stood out to me had the letter G on it for Gonzalez.
Here we go.
You guys okay?
Yep.
As we were getting ready to start, Steve gave Christy a little kiss on the cheek, like he always does, and then she cozied into him, and we started rolling.
If this is the interview I'm thinking of, they just did this the other day. Christy, I'm going to say Christy Gonzalez looked beautiful, absolutely beautiful in that interview.
Since we've met each other, I promise I'm not going to ask the question of how are you, but where are you? So where are you right now?
Just one day at a time.
It's already been over a year, and I mean, we have felt every minute of that year.
Christy and Steve are both eager for the trial to get started, and they say they'll fight to the end to get justice for Kaylee. But the case is out of their hands.
It's just really hard to put your trust, your hope, your faith in the hands of other people.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Your life is out of control. When you can't have control of your own life, it's out of control.
You just get used to letting them represent your child, but they're going to do it in their own way. They're not going to do it in the way that you would do. So you just have to roll with that. But it just makes it that much more that you want it to be over with, so you can have control of your own life.
The Gonzalez family has also felt at odds with the University of Idaho in how it's communicated with them. And it was a bit of a surprise to them when the murders showed up as a chapter in a book co-authored by the University of Idaho's president, Scott Green. The book came out this past December and was titled The University President's Handbook of Crisis Management. Here's a clip from a promotional video on the university's website.
When I started as president at the University of Idaho in 2019, I knew there were challenges awaiting, but no one could have predicted that our community would have to manage 3 major crises in 4 years.
Did you know the president was going to publish a book that would have a chapter about the murders?
He sent an email one time saying that he was.
The chapter is dedicated to the 4 victims, and President Green writes that there isn't a day that goes by that he doesn't think about them. Proceeds from the book will go to funding a healing garden on campus.
I'm going to share a passage with you that stood out to me. He writes, one metric that would determine how well the university handled the crisis would be spring enrollment. And on January 27th of 2023, the university reported that spring enrollment at the University of Idaho was up. Undergraduate enrollment increased by 3.5%.
Business over justice. That's really what that's saying. We had a job and we got to get our enrollment numbers up.
I've never been able to interview President Green, and I've been asking him since the day after the murders. ABC's requests to speak with him about his book were also declined. But a spokesperson did respond, writing, "We recognize this entire situation is the most emotional for the families of the victims. The book is not intended to diminish that in any way, but to speak to how the University of Idaho responded and kept its entire student body and staff, as well as the victims and their families, at the forefront of all decisions." One small world connection that we learned that wasn't in the book is that President Green's family once owned the King Road house. They bought it in the late 60s and sold it in the early 70s when the president was a small boy. It was one of several properties owned by the family. We were told by the university that President Green has no memories of the house and did not grow up there. To Kaylee's parents, though, not mentioning such a personal connection to the home where their daughter was killed seems remarkable.
Just come out. I mean, you can't help but if your family owned an investment property, let's nothing be ashamed of. Just come out and own it. Quit doing these sealed documents.
Everything is just so secretive.
And just a few weeks after the book came out, 1122 King Road became a point of contention between the Gonzalez family and the university again. This time, the fight would be about the fate of the home itself. Remember, the university now owns the property. The private landlord donated it after the murders, and Kaylee's parents wanted the house to remain standing at least through the trial, so there'd be the possibility that the jury could walk through it. The university had delayed the demolition once in the fall of last year for the sake of the families, but ultimately, they made the decision to move ahead with tearing down the house. The university said both the prosecution and the defense have had access. The FBI took measurements and pictures to construct a physical model of the home so jurors can see the layout. And according to a university press release, neither the defense nor the prosecution asked for the home to be retained. Ethan Chapin's parents released a statement saying, "We're supportive of the decision to take down the King Street house for the good of the university, its students, including our own kids, and the community of Moscow." Remember, Ethan didn't live in the King Road house, but his 2 surviving triplets still attend the University of Idaho, and you could see the home from the Sigma Chi frat house where Ethan's brother Hunter is a member. For the University of Idaho's part, they put out a press release on December 14th of last year that quotes President Green, saying, "The house is the grim reminder of the heinous act that took place there." The university said it wanted the house demolished to decrease further impact to the students who live in the area. And in the past, the university has said it believes leaving the house would further sensationalize the crime scene. Christy doesn't agree.
I don't want to say that we could care less about the community there.
Of course not.
But the way, from my understanding where the house is, it's not like smack dab where everybody has to drive. It's kind of in a location that you really only have to go by it if you want to, or if you live right there.
It's off.
You don't have to go by that house. And I understand being a neighbor. I do sympathize with that, but
That shouldn't have been
I don't
a
know.
priority.
Steve and Chrissy say they found out the demolition was coming over email just hours before the university put out a press release to the public.
An email. Yeah.
The university told you via email?
Yes.
The house was coming down?
Yes.
No one called to talk to you about it?
No.
They fought it to the last minute. So did others. Someone launched a petition on change.org that collected thousands of signatures. The day before the excavator came to tear down the house, the Gonzalez family, along with Xana Kernodles, put out a statement pleading to keep the house standing. But 3 days after Christmas, the demolition went ahead.
I was up at like 3 that morning. Steve and I were sitting there talking. He left for work, and it was a little after 6:40-ish, 6:42.
Before the sun's up.
In the dark, I turned on the TV, and the house was being torn down.
Like, think about that, Thank you, Alvamosa. That's so kind of you. You just gifted 10 memberships and another 10. Look at that. Bringing them people in. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Christy Gonzalez, when she says that she woke up that morning, it made me realize that I know that they're human, but really that they really are human and the life has to kind of go on for them. They were saying Steve was getting ready for work. I don't think I could have worked that day. I don't think I would have been able to work. He said, he's a strong man. He has to take care of his family, he has to still take care of his family. And then she said, Christy probably sat down on the couch that morning thinking, I have like 20 minutes until this demo is going to start. She probably got her coffee. She was probably waiting for, a minute, turned on the TV. And then all of a sudden she's like, what? It's already happening. And she'll say here that she turned the TV on and saw Kaylee's room pretty much. And they've never seen Kaylee's room before. So this was the first time she really got to look at it, if you think about that. It's very sad.
They were actually taking a swipe at Kaylee's room right when I turned on the TV. The whole front was gone, and I was literally like, that's literally Kaylee's room. That swipe they just took. It was horrible.
Here we go. My producer Timmy and I drove to the site where the house on King Road once stood.
Oh, my heart's racing, actually. Oh my gosh. It's totally gone.
The lot is now a big, empty patch of dirt with a metal construction-type fence around it. They've covered the soil in straw.
It's so empty and sad. There was a lot of life in that house at one point. And there is not a single thing left of it.
Kaylee's parents, like the other victims' families, did get to retrieve their daughter's belongings from the house before it was torn down. But they
Okay, so this is the part I really want you guys to listen to. Let me see here. Because on this part is where they talk about how they retrieved their children's belongings. So they're going to explain the building that they had. Here comes my dog. Sorry. They're going to explain the building that they went to pick up their children's things. And it was a modular. It was a modular home is one of those like cookie cutter homes they smack together. It's kind of like, I think it falls in the same thing as like a trailer, but it's not really a trailer. It's a modular. They're really nice homes. So you just kind of like make them yourself. And so they went to the modular. They were all there. All 4 victims' families are in this one modular, and they had to put on hats that required them to have lights on them so that they could see inside of this home to retrieve their children's personal belongings. You're going to hear it out of their mouth. When I heard this tonight, I was like, oh, hell no. Alvamos. We're going to have to cut Alvamos off. 10 more gifted memberships. Is it my birthday? That's so amazing. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. That's so amazing. Did you win the lottery, Alvamos? And can we have some? I'm going to stay with Alvamos. I'm gonna allow gifts on my membership for myself because I'm gonna get myself a membership, guys, if you don't grab them up. Thank you so much. That is so kind. That's really amazingly kind. Like really, really is. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. This part right here is what got me fired up today. So I wanted you guys to hear this too.
They've been critical of the way law enforcement has communicated with them.
The one reason why we felt like we had to get legal counsel is because we went and we asked multiple times, like, what items do you have of hers? And they refused to give us even a list of the things that they took of our daughters.
Like what things were like
we
taken
know
into evidence?
There's just things missing that are not anywhere, and they don't even say that they're coming back to us. They don't even acknowledge they have them.
ABC News reached out to law enforcement in Moscow to ask about this, but there's a gag order in effect on the case, preventing the authorities from talking with us. But for the belongings that were returned to the Gonzalez family and the other victims' families as well, the university staged a modular home with all the contents released by investigators. Family members could walk through and gather what they wanted to take home. Christy describes the scene.
It was kind of like a garage sale style, like tables.
Garage
There was a living
sale.
room area. There was the upstairs bathroom. So everything from the upstairs bathroom was Kaylee and Maddie's. There was, the kitchen. I mean, even the food items.
It was dark.
Even the food items. So she's referring, let me see. Actually, I have to unblow this picture. Actually, let me see. You can see them kind of on this one, but I don't know if I have a really good shot of them. But I don't. I'll share this tab. But you can see them through the window here. Like they're talking about the stuff that was on the table, like the old food bowls, silverware. I mean, did they give them the Starbucks cup back and the DoorDash order also? Because it's like, what the? Yeah, like who would know? You know what I mean? Like the food items they could have thrown away. I mean, I guess I understand they're just like wanting to give stuff back, but just come on, guys. Ugh. Don't give them the trash back. Don't do that. Give them things that they really want. I mean, you're tearing down the home. Give them things that they want. Especially Kaylee's room shouldn't have been, and they should have gotten everything back. I'm assuming Xana and Maddie, their parents didn't get a lot back. Oh, I got another dog in here. They finally came over to see what I was doing. If you hear their paw, sorry. I'm going to play this now. Oh, she's getting up on her chair. That's terrible. There's no sound? There should be. That's weird. I just hit play. Let me know. I can go back a little bit. That's so weird. Maybe it's because is it back now? That's so weird. And maybe it's because I put this picture up of all the pictures. That's so weird. Oh, look, I have my iPad one. Sorry. It's a little bit of a delay. Yeah, that's so weird. Okay, let's try it again. That is so weird. Okay, maybe if I take the banners down. That's so weird. Oh, maybe it's because I have this banner up. That's why. Oh, it's because I have this. I'm not sharing it with y'all. Oh my Lord. Oh my gosh, sorry guys. Sorry about that. I forgot I put that other picture up to show you, so it wasn't sharing this. I'm like, why is it not working? So I'll rewind it a little bit back. It was just like I think a minute or two back, or a minute and a half. So it should be good here. Sorry about that. It was really getting good, and I just like paused on you.
Dishes that were in the sink.
The way things were labeled felt impersonal to Kaylee's parents.
Nothing said Kaylee. It was all bedroom number 2. So our daughter is bedroom number 2.
And the waste paper basket in bedroom number 2 was still full of trash.
Her little garbage can in her bedroom with her garbage in it. Laying on top was a little squeezy applesauce thing that you would give to like a toddler. Yeah. I'm like, Kaylee with their little squeezy applesauce thing right on top.
Wait, but I'm sorry. Was the trash can full?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It did not appear to have been gone through.
And that made Steve and Christy question whether all the evidence had really been collected. Now, Kaylee and Maddie's bodies were found in Maddie's room, and the trash can was in Kaylee's room, where none of the victims were located. But we know from sources that there were other objects boxed up for return to families that were spattered in blood. We reached out to retired NYPD Chief of Detectives and ABC News contributor Robert Boyce to understand what's typical when it comes to returning items to families, while at the same time preserving evidence. The retired chief said every item at a crime scene that contains human DNA gets sent to be tested, and evidence from high-profile cases like this one gets carefully screened.
Let's understand there's 3 different agencies at least who are involved in this crime scene.
We're going back a little bit.
What
did it say?
We're not.
Hold on.
It did not appear to have been gone through.
And that made Steve and Christy question whether all the evidence had really been collected. Now, Kaylee and Maddie's bodies were found in Maddie's room, and the trash can was in Kaylee's room, where none of the victims were located. But we know from sources that there were other objects boxed up for return to families that were spattered in blood.
Oh, hell no. I wonder who the source is for that. I want to know who this. Okay, cite your source. Oh my Lord. I'm putting my trust into the officers that did this case, but I'm coming at you from a criminal justice perspective with the degree. I don't know about it. Some of the stuff that I saw, I didn't agree with, and that's huge. That's like what? I mean, they did leave the trash out back. We never saw them collect any of that. I mean, I know I'm assuming they didn't give those mattresses back to those people, but I'm wondering what would have spatter on it. I'm wondering what they gave them back, because you would think everything would be covered. Like, do you think the family members took it back and was like, "Hey, you gave us this"? That's weird. Yeah, let's keep listening.
We reached out to retired NYPD Chief of Detectives and ABC News contributor Robert Boyce to understand what's typical when it comes to returning items to families, while at the same time preserving evidence. The retired chief said every item at a crime scene that contains human DNA gets sent to be tested, and evidence from high-profile cases like this one gets carefully screened.
Let's understand there's 3 different agencies at least who are involved in this crime scene. The FBI, the state police, and also the local police out there as well. So these 3 agencies all getting together with a singular prosecutor's office has to go through each thing that's released back to the families. So there's certain high level of scrutiny here.
After the testing is done, anything that's deemed irrelevant to investigators gets returned to the families. That means food-encrusted plates, garbage, even things contaminated with blood are given back. And as hard as that might be, they're returned exactly how they were.
You know, it's sad seeing, you know, like her deodorant and things like that. You know, like
you
her hairbrush.
Yeah, you put the lid on it and think, we'll use it tomorrow.
In all, police have said they gathered more than 100 pieces of physical evidence from the King Road home, along with some 4,000 photos and 3D scans of the residence. The person at the university who had to oversee returning the students' possessions to their families was Blaine Eccles, the vice provost for student affairs and dean of students. We talked about it as we walked through the site of the proposed healing garden on campus. He says they took it all very seriously and tried to be sensitive, both emptying the house and returning the personal effects to families.
We put a very intentional process in place on how we could very deliberately and sensitively extract the belongings from the house and get it into a different location so that the families could come in on their time, take the time they needed to go through and collect whatever belongings they wanted. And so we were able to identify another building on campus with multiple rooms to where we could put the belongings that came out of one bedroom into that, another one there, and created a space so the families could walk through at their own pace to take what we wanted. And then, you know, with their understanding and permission, then when everyone went through, we got rid of it.
Eccles says the university tried to give all the families a chance to retrieve their loved ones' belongings, whether they could make it to Moscow or not.
That was an emotional process. But again, I marvel at how the families navigated through it. One family we worked with on Zoom, they were not local. We walked through the stuff, my associate dean and I holding the video, and then we're going through the boxes for them.
It was a heartbreaking job for Steve and Christy, going through those everyday objects that Kaylee would never touch again. But the Gonzalez family got it done.
We did go down with a big truck and a flatbed trailer in her car, and we got everything that we could. It was sad.
One item they did not come home with is Kaylee's cell phone. They want to see the photos Kaylee took on her last visit home. Selfies Kaylee took with her mom walking the dogs. Pictures of her and her sister. These were memories of her last days, and they want them. What they did get recently is a thumb drive. They say police promised them at least 4,500 photos from Kaylee's iCloud account. Instead, they say they got a fraction of that, 450 random pictures and 3 videos.
Some are older pictures.
Hold on a second. They're supposed to get 4,500 and they got how many? 420 something?
They say they got a fraction of that, 450 random pictures and 3 videos.
Some are older pictures, some are newer, some are just duplicate over same picture over. There's no time frame like, oh, this is the months of this. I mean, and like I said, there's not even, I mean, you could scroll once, twice on a laptop screen and you're at the bottom.
Well, we all know that's not going to be correcto because she was taking pictures that looked like the night at the food truck. We don't know for sure if that's what she was doing, but it looked like she was. So where's the 4,050 pictures she's missing? And the videos, you know, she had more than 3 videos up on that phone with that dog. She had, nope, that puppy. Come on now. That's weird.
I looked at the photos with Steve and Christy. They showed Kaylee from junior high up through college. Pictures of her in a cowboy hat down in Boise, celebrating her 21st birthday. They also showed me videos too, like one where Kaylee's tubing in a river with some other girls, including Maddie. Her back is sunburned. She's wearing sunglasses on her head, a Bud Light in her hand, telling her friends a story and making them laugh.
One time my grandma took us on a float. She swore by it. She loved it. This exact thing happened where she's like, it's just right around the corner. Pretty soon the sun was going down. It was literally like 50 degrees outside. All our tubes had popped.
These are the last moments of your child's life, and you're sitting here fighting with somebody who just doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Law enforcement can't talk with us about the phone data because of the gag order. Before I let Christy and Steve go, There was one last thought that had been on my mind for a while that I wanted to put to them.
The man accused of killing your daughter had a birthday
In
in the
November.
Latah County Jail.
Mhm.
You've had 2 grandbabies, and Kaylee didn't get to see her birthday.
Yep.
No.
His birthdays are going to come to an end too. But we just got to get this case over. We got to get a schedule. Let's stop playing these delayed tactics. Let's just get it done. Success is justice, and figuring out we got the right guy and the community came together, jury members, the whole 9. And then the message is, you come to Idaho, you do something like this and you die for it. That's the message. And that's success.
Brian Koberger maintains his innocence and has provided an alibi that he was out driving alone on the night of the murders and has spent more than a year in jail awaiting trial. Christy knows the death penalty won't bring an end to the pain, and she questions if it's even justice for what happened.
In a way, even though, we say it all the time, we're seeking justice, but there is no justice. Him dying
Nothing's going to bring her back.
is not going to bring her back. Yeah, I mean, it will be very short lived. This is like a book, and that chapter will be closed, but the book never will be.
The wound of these murders is going to continue to ache for Kaylee's parents and for the loved ones of all 4 victims. And as long as Brian Koberger maintains that he didn't commit these crimes, there will be a trial, and it will be up to a jury to decide if he was the one who killed Kaylee, Maddie, Santa, and Ethan. We'll be back with another update when there's more news on the case. And once the trial is underway, which according to what we heard in court could be 2025, we'll be there, wherever it takes place.
Okay, that was the end of the podcast. Let me get this banner down and get me back on here. There I am. And there's my dog. I got a partner now. She came in when we were watching the podcast. I opened the door and I didn't realize that I ran out and grabbed a drink, came back in, and she came over. First the other one came over and then she came over. So it's cute. They don't really care for me anymore because we have the full, remember I was only using half the house. We're using the full house now, so they ignore me. Coughing conversations. I don't know how any parent can ever get over this. I don't think they do. I think they just learn to live life without their child. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine the not knowing. Like after a year, they probably know that, she's not going to come back. But it's like the not knowing now is probably like really getting to them. I would want answers, and Steve looks like he wants answers. He's looked like he's wanted answers since this happened. He's really both of them, both Steve and Christy, have been in the forefront because they do want to talk about it. Some families don't, and that's fine. I mean, that's fine that they want to, grieve in peace. They have every right to do that. They have every right to do that, and we should give them their space to do that. I feel like, but. Oh, Cheryl said even God must be heartbroken. That's so sad. I know. Ignoring until you have in a bag of chips. Paul said, yeah, that's the truth. She's back there snoring right now. She's happy. She's so happy. You guys are talking about perfume boxes. That's funny. My mom used to collect perfume bottles. We still have them. My brother has them in storage or something. My brother has all the storage. Hey, Bear Down Cats. What's your picture? Oh, Arizona. I thought it was a cactus or some sort of plant on there. I love greenery, but I really don't have any. There's a little bit. It's fake, but that one's fake. Someone said the other night they liked that, and I was like, oh, it's fake. Oh, it was Jan. I was like, that's totally fake. Got that at Target. My little plant. I think I have 2 of them. So, but that's all I really have for you guys for tonight for the live. That was kind of a short live a little bit. I mean, not really, about an hour and a half. So I've been trying to shorten them down for you guys so that you guys aren't too bored, through them. And I'm telling you what, my mouth is still numb. That's weird. It feels like it anyway. Cat's Life said I'd be upset. They only got a small amount of pictures. Yeah, I know. Now I'm wondering if Xana's mom saw the digital, because like I swear that Xana's mom came out when she did her interview and said that she had received her digital, like the digital pictures. So I'm wondering if they all were missing pictures or if only certain phones were. Now that's weird not to have any pictures on your phone. Now maybe she did something where she, stored them somewhere else, but I doubt that. I doubt it. Wasn't it, Stephanie? They have a really good podcast. So it's called the King Road Killings. And if you go under my videos, under like Idaho videos, not like lives, but just videos, I have like all kinds of them. And it'll be under the King Road Killings podcast. And then we did another podcast that we streamed, and it's called the Idaho Massacre podcast. And that one's really good too. Actually, let me check and see if they came out with anything as well. Because I've just been looking on both of them just to see, because we really liked them. When I was on vacation, actually, we streamed them on our live. And then when I was on vacation in September, I did pre-recorded. So premieres every night, and I was in the chat with you guys. So it was like kind of like a live still. And we had like a bunch of people in here. It was a fun live. I remember there was like no trolls in here at all. And I was like, I'm on vacation and there's like 200 or 300 people in the chat and they're all cool and I'm cool and it's cool. I love that. It doesn't look like that they have anything on theirs yet, but they have the Pike County massacre as well. Oh, the name of the one. Okay. So the one I played tonight is called the Idaho Killings. Idaho Killings podcast. And her name is something Whitworth or Tina. I forget her name, but she's so cute. I can picture her. I just can't think of her name. But she, Kayna, I forget it. I should look it up for you guys. But I don't know. I don't know if it's on there. Let me see if it's on the podcast. Because I'm curious to know her name too, because we always talk about her. Kayna Whitworth. I was close. I don't know if she's in jail or not, Cheryl. I don't know. She's still on the run. Yeah, she's on the run. And the bond went up. Remember, I called the jail. I was like, I'm gonna call and ask them. She has a bench warrant. And I recorded it too, because it's a one recording party state. You only need to have only one person needs to know. I made sure I asked Vincent first because he's into all that. He knows that stuff. Yeah, so there's the Idaho Killings and then the Idaho Massacre, Stephanie. There's two different ones. And if you and so like if they're under my videos, they're pre-recorded, so you don't have to they're not the live, so it's just the actual video, just goes right into the video pretty much. So if you can't find them, you can always watch them on my channel. Sarah Violence, yeah. Can you? He's out. He said irreconcilable differences, like they're married. If you're just now joining us, yeah, Sarah Boone. She got her 7th lawyer because her 6th lawyer, she called him a buffoon. He didn't like it. He didn't like that. I've been called way worse than that, just on YouTube. But I guess he didn't like that. And he was like, I'm out. So then they got her a 7th lawyer. And then he said he's out. Irreconcilable differences already. They haven't even made their first court appearance yet. What can you be different? What's the difference? Is she saying I'm not guilty? And he's like, honey, you're guilty. And she's like, no, I'm not. That's not my video. What if she's pulling something like that? She would too. Like I didn't take that video, even though we all know she did because she said she did. It's on her phone. But that's crazy. Well, I'm really glad that you guys can see more of my studio than I thought too, because I really thought you couldn't see anything like in here, but you can. Oh, I don't know why I made me hold your thing for review, Cheryl, but she said hi, Randy. Thank you. Yeah, it's a really good podcast. I really like it. And it's always in my descriptions too of my titles. If you go down, it'll say references. Like a few of the last lives, these last ones we've done over Kansas City, I haven't been good about putting in all like the News Nation clips, but I'm usually really good about always putting the references in there. So almost the neon is coming back. Almost, I miss the neon. Me too. So Vince has been really busy. Like that poor guy's been building a lot. He's been building so much and painting. He's painted this whole place now. He's done all of the floors. And then we just bought all new furniture for the whole house, like literally all new everything down to the silverware. Like, I mean, he was like, do we have to get anything, like shower curtains down to everything? We just literally gutted it and just redid it. So it's like really, really, really nice. It's been really nice. So we're going to get the neon back up. Hopefully I can get him to do it this weekend, maybe Sunday. Tomorrow he's going to build our new fireplace stand. So it came in like 1,000,001 pieces. I was like, do we need to take this to Lowe's and have them build it? But he knows how to build things. I don't. Don't let me build anything. Like I told him I was going to paint the other day. I was like, I'm just going to paint a little. And he's like, no, you're not. I was like, okay. I was just kidding anyway. I didn't really want to paint. He always knows I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I get paint everywhere. I am a messy person when it comes to painting or doing any kind of crafts. Tedious work, I'm not good at it. So he was Doodlebug. He was supposed to put it up last weekend, but I made him do something else. What do we make him? Oh, he bought tables and a TV. So he got out of that because he's like, I want to shop. I was like, you can shop. I'll sit. So it's been nice. It's nice to just be able to enjoy the whole place. And the animals love it. They can like stretch their legs a little more. They can get away from us if they don't want to be hanging with us. They don't have to. You know, it's been nice. It's been really nice. I still have yet to sit on the couch. We've had it for 2 weeks or a week. I haven't got on there yet. Dogs have. I spotted my other dog on there this morning and it made my heart warm just because she looks so comfortable. Yeah, I still haven't, like, I wake up and I just don't stop. I'm always cleaning something, y'all. I need to stop doing that. But I have been using the robot vacuum lately. And if you guys have back problems, you guys need to get one of those. I think she expects her attorneys to create a defense that, negates her recording as George dies. Yeah, or Jorge dies. Yeah, me too. I think that's exactly what it is, Jay. I think that's what it is. She's just trying to get out of it. She's not going to get out of it. She might as well get used to, serving up ramen in prison because that's where she's heading. He even told you not to put anything on his to-do list so he would hang it. Didn't work. Yeah, he made himself a to-do list. That's what he did. He's procrastinating. He is. I hope he's listening. So what he has to do is he has to drill like a hole and then put the cord through it. That's the biggest thing, is he has to drill that hole and like fish it through and all that kind of stuff. So because I don't like cords on the wall and he knows that and he's great about hiding it. So once it's up, it'll be beautiful and I'll be back. I feel like my name needs to be back behind me because it's like, I don't know. They're like, who's this girl? I'm TitaniumBuilt. I used to be able to point to my sign. She's going to get time served by the time she goes to court. Right? So what did someone say? Someone said something the other day was really funny. I have to think about it. Coffee conversation. You're so right. Cleaning is so therapeutic. It's like when we remove the dirt, we feel. I agree. Doodlebug said excuses. I love this. I wish Vincent was here so I could get him to come in here and be like, she said excuses. Excuses. Is there a limit to a point of defense? I guess until they run out. I mean, you would think they would have already said no more. Very crazy. He's Ladybug. He actually didn't fall asleep tonight. He's on his way home. He was in Columbus. I was there this morning. He's there tonight. We should just move back up there. 85 and TV, $8.99. Are you talking about in the year 85, the TVs were $8.99? Because I believe that. I remember my parents getting a TV. It was like once every 50 years, it seemed like. We didn't, the big box TVs. He didn't like my TV anymore. We had my TV, it was my mom's, and we had it up in our bedroom. And it's just like a little bit thicker, like that, because it's older, but it's not like a box TV. It's like hangs on the wall and everything. It's like Magnavox. It's a good TV, but it was just a little old. So we're going to sell that one. If somebody wants to buy it, we'll sell it. If not, then we'll probably give it to the neighbor. That's what we've been kind of doing. I feel bad for their dogs. Their dog. I almost gave it a dog bed the other night. And so I was like, don't give him that dog bed. I'm like, why? It's brand new. Like we just bought it like 5 months ago. The dogs don't even sleep on it because they don't like it. They like the donut bed. So I got them new beds like a couple months ago. Didn't realize that the cover didn't come off of them. So I'm like, I'm not going to the laundromat every month or every few weeks because I can't stand smell of animals And I'll be like, we're not doing it. So Vincent went and he got some that had like an actual cover that we can remove, which is great. The cat's been sleeping on them. He loves them. So the cat of all things, the cat loves the dog beds. He can catch it on replay. Yeah. Well, that's what we'll do. You had a bad day. Oh, Ladybug, I'm sorry. 85-inch TV. Oh, cost $8.99. I thought you meant an 85. Because I was like, that's true too. That's not bad. 85-inch. It's a big TV. That's a big TV. Like, whew, that's too big for us. We have like a 65, I think, like in our living room, and that's pretty big. I mean, it looks big anyway. We don't watch a whole lot of TV though. It's weird. I watch YouTube. I know you guys probably watch YouTube also. Like, that's where I get my news. I always like to just jump onto YouTube because everyone has the best news. But thanks Alvamos for making it rain in here tonight. My lordy, we got some new members. And then Miss Linda came in and dropped in and said, well, I'm a member for 12 months. Where's my new arm? I shouldn't say that, but I got to get her one for her 1 year. Wow, that's amazing. We've had memberships that long. It's amazing. We've actually been on the channel for longer than a year. How long has it been? A year and 4 months, year and 3 months. We're not doing too bad over here. Not doing too bad. But if you guys missed any part of the live, make sure you go back and check it out. It was a really good live. If anybody doesn't have any more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. My dogs might need to go to the side yard. I think she's doing okay though. She's just sleeping back there, so she's just sleeping. But yeah, we're almost done with the house. I'm gonna actually post some pictures. Maybe I can post them this weekend, or I'll show them to you guys on one of the lives. We'll figure that out. I would love a new Apple VR headset. I mean, I could. I told Vincent with that I would not need any friends ever because I would just entertain myself all the time. I would never need to leave the house if I had one of those. But I do want the new Apple headphones. That's my next. I really, really want them. I want them bad. But you know me, I have Apple Pods or AirPods, but I do like the headphones. They're really nice. But thank you guys all for being here tonight. I appreciate it so much. Tomorrow night we'll be on. I'm not sure what we're going to cover. Maybe we'll do another poll. So we'll just knock off the Idaho 4 since we did that tonight, and then we'll do another poll. So make sure you check out the community page tomorrow sometime, or maybe tonight, and I'll post some cases on there. And then if you don't like any of the cases that are listed, post your case below in the comments. And then if people like it, there's some engagement, we'll make sure that we cover it. So thank you guys all for being here tonight. I really appreciate it so much. I will see you guys all tomorrow around 8:15, 8:35, something like that. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.